Ladies and gentlemen, they say neighbors are like family. You don't choose them, but you are stuck with them. And South Africa and Zimbabwe are the most quarrelsome siblings on the block. One is forever shouting, immigrants are stealing our jobs, while the other is forever sneaking across the yard because their own house is burning. Yet, deep down, both know they can't live without each other. And nothing shows it more than the immigration circus we are watching unfold right now. Picture this. A tragic head-on collision in Chitungwiza kills 17 people. A whole community left in grief. Flowers still scattered on the roadside. The Unyani River Bridge stained with memory. Into this heartbreak comes two South African data experts, Pretoria's Walter James Seymour and Hemishusen Danica. Not to steal diamonds or gold, not to plot a coup, but simply to mark tire scrapings with paint and measure skid marks. Instead of gratitude for trying to unravel what caused the tragedy, Zimbabwe arrests them. Their crime? Disturbing the flow of traffic. Yes, dear viewers, apparently measuring brake marks is as dangerous as plotting treason. And so, the magistrate, in the full glory of Zimbabwean justice, slapped them with a $200 fine each or risk 4 months in prison. For South Africans, this is around 3,700 rands. Forensic scientists treated like petty criminals for daring to work without the nod of some faceless bureaucrat. It would be funny if it wasn't so depressing, because at the heart of this case is a truth our governments don't like to admit. South Africa needs Zimbabwe, and Zimbabwe needs South Africa. Let's rewind. How many Zimbabweans are in South Africa right now? Millions. They clean the dishes in the Sandton restaurants. They pick grapes in Cape Town vineyards. They lay bricks on Durban construction sites, and they nurse patients in Johannesburg hospitals. South Africa's economy would shiver without Zimbabwean labor. And every time a politician shouts, foreigners must go, they do it standing on the shoulders of Zimbabweans who keep the country's wheels turning. But turn the page, and Zimbabwe also leans heavily on South Africa. Its supermarkets are full of South African goods. And indeed, some of South African supermarkets are operating in Zimbabwe. Its hospitals survive on South African medical imports. Its companies use South African banking systems and fuel from South African refineries. If you didn't know, Stanbic Bank in Zimbabwe is actually the Standard Bank of South Africa. And when Zimbabwean roads crumble or disasters strike, who brings expertise? South Africans. The two forensic analysts found in Chitungwiza were just the latest example. Yet, here lies the irony. Instead of embracing this interdependence, both governments treat migration like a crime. Zimbabwe's Human Rights Commission recently confirmed that scores of South Africans are locked up in Harare remand prison. Many are waiting deportation. Some face serious charges, others are just pawns caught up in immigration red tape. Meanwhile, across the Limpopo, South African police are raiding shacks in Alexandra, dragging out Zimbabweans whose only crime is wanting to work and survive. Both countries are guilty of the same hypocrisy, punishing the very people who hold their economies together. Think about it. A South African woman jailed in Zimbabwe for 10 years for drug trafficking. A group of South African men facing trial in Harare for conspiracy to commit armed robbery. Zimbabweans being hounded in Soweto for simply existing. Do we see the pattern? Both countries' prisons are filled with each other's citizens, both societies boiling with suspicion about foreigners, while the truth is staring us all in the face. We are tied at the hip, whether we like it or not. This is not new. History itself laughs at our denial. During apartheid, Zimbabwe sheltered South African liberation fighters, gave them camps, food and support. Zimbabwe was a brother's keeper. Fast forward, and post-apartheid South Africa became the lifeline for millions of Zimbabweans fleeing economic collapse, political violence and unemployment. That flow of people across the Limpopo has never stopped, and it never will, because migration is not a crime, it is survival. But the politicians won't say this. Instead, they stage border dramas and court cases. They fine forensic scientists for disturbing traffic. They raid tuck shops in Johannesburg. They deport each other's citizens like unwanted baggage. All this while quietly depending on each other behind the scenes. It's like a couple that screams, "I'm done with you," in public and then sneaks back into bed at night. Here's the hard truth. If South Africa ever shut its borders to Zimbabwe completely, the economy would implode within weeks. Restaurants would close, farms would rot, hospitals would collapse. And if Zimbabwe cut itself from South Africa, shelves would be empty, fuel would run dry, banks would choke. Both countries are addicted to each other. But instead of acknowledging it, they act out this theater of denial. So, when you see those South African crash experts being fined in Chitungwiza, don't just laugh at the absurdity. See it for what it is. Another episode in a long-running soap opera where two neighbors pretend to hate each other while secretly knowing they can't live apart. Immigration is not charity. It is a necessity. It is the glue that binds us. And maybe one day when the politicians finally drop the act, we will get systems that respect this reality. Systems that treat migration not as a threat but a lifeline. Until then, Zimbabweans will keep sneaking into South Africa to build its cities. South Africans will keep flying into Harare to offer expertise, and both governments will keep pretending they are shocked. Because in the end, whether it's in Chitungwiza or Johannesburg, the truth is simple. South Africa needs Zimbabwe, and Zimbabwe needs South Africa. Always has, always will. And if you agree that it's time for our leaders to wake up to this reality, then hit that subscribe button right now, because here at Zimwaves TV, we'll keep exposing the theater, the hypocrisy, and the truth they don't want you to hear.